Hey guys, welcome back to the Angular Book Client Walkthrough, Part 2. Today's section is going to be covering models, services, injectables, and RxJS. Now, keep in mind that this walkthrough will not communicate with a backend if you don't have one yet on your machine. So, if you have not completed building the book API, go ahead and stop watching right now and finish that up. Otherwise, you won't get a whole lot of use out of this lecture. So, to get started, let's make sure we get our server up and running first. That way we don't have to worry about it later. So I'm already in the terminal for my server. So if I run a dir, I get to see all of my root level server folders. So I'm going to run node mod. And I'm just going to get that started now and get it out of the way. I'm also going to go back to my other terminal here where I have my Angular app. If I run a dir, well, I guess I'm not in there yet. If I cd into my Angular app and then run dir, I get to see all the files in the root of my Angular app. So I'm going to run ng serve-o, and I'll get that started. Now that my Angular app is finished compiling, and now that my server has finished starting, I am ready to start working on the next part of my Angular app. And that is going to be hooking this up to the back end. And the first step is going to be to get our client set up to receive the information we need from the back end. And in Angular, we do that through creating models. And it might seem kind of silly to have models on the front end at first, but when you think about TypeScript and its type-safe nature by default, it makes perfect sense that you would want to have a model on the client so that the information you're receiving from an outside source still has to match a certain format before you can use it. In fact, Angular and its dependencies that handle this kind of like asynchronous data fetching will not let data through if it doesn't match a certain model, assuming that you have a model there to begin with. So let's get started on making one. Inside our app folder, we're going to add another folder, and we're going to call it models. And inside this folder, we're going to add a file and call it book.model.ts. And now, in this file, we're going to start defining the model that we want our books to be. And we're going to start that by saying export interface capital B book. As with components, it is considered convention to use Pascal casing on our model names. So as you see, we have the capital B book as opposed to a lowercase. Now, inside the model, for this, we're going to start defining our the properties that we want and then the types we want along with that. We don't need to have like the exact values that they could be. However, we do have to give them a type. So let's add name of book. And it's going to be a string. And let's add author. Also going to be a string. Let's add genre, likewise a string, pub, capital Y year, that's going to be a number, and we're also going to add rating, again a number. I'm going to save that, and that's it. That's it for this model. The model, again, it doesn't have to have the actual values. So if you went in on your back end and you defined an enum, you don't have to have like an array of all the possible values that enum could be. You can just say string because that's all the model and Angular are really concerned with.